Good afternoon, this is Steve Figueroa coming live to you from Foro Politico, Latino PBS in San Bernardino. I want to welcome everybody. I want to do also a shout out welcome to all our viewers out there in Facebook live streaming now. We're privileged to here have a very special guest and a dear friend and mine, a longtime friend, Paul Rosso, candidate for San Bernardino College Board, District 1. Paul, how are you doing? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, I'm doing great, Steve, and thank you for having me here today. I really appreciate you guys inviting me out to do this segment with you. Yes, I'm a candidate for the San Bernardino Community College Board of Trustees, Area 1, which is a newly created district. What happened, as you know, a few years ago, assembly districts, congressional districts got, redistrict. And this was a district that was newly created, Area 1. So once I win the election, I'll be representing the area of Colton, Grand Terrace, Bloomington, and a portion of South Fontana. And that would be Area 1. And the thing is that that's a highly populated Latino area. So I would be the first voice in that area because the board members as it is now, no one lives in those areas.
Wow. Now, you've been in service, in public service for many years, serving in multiple roles. I recall you at one time as president of the local CSEA for Colton Joint Unified School District. Tell us about what you did there.
Well, as for the California School Employees Association, I worked for the Colton Joint Unified, and I became a representative protecting the rights of employees. I became president of that chapter, and I was president for about 5 years when I decided in 2004 to run for the California State Assembly. And at that time, I was living in Moreno Valley. I ran that campaign, and I did really well. We were up against a Republican incumbent at the time who no Democrat could get over 30% of the vote. And my first time running with no name recognition, I garnered 42% of the vote. And that was like a statement across Sacramento at the Capitol that I got a lot of recognition for the work that I did coming in on no name and being able to go against a Republican incumbent and garnering 42% of that vote. That's
excellent. Now, the position you're running for now is a board member for San Bernardino Valley College, District 1, newly created. Tell us what your vision is. Do you have any things you want to do within the first 100 days, any accomplishments, any short-term, long-term visions? What do you foresee?
Well, I've been involved in the community, Steve, for a very long time. Currently, right now, I'm the chairman for the Colton Recreation and Parks Division. I'm a commissioner, and I've done a lot with the kids out in the city of Colton. We have the soccer programs, we have the football programs, we have t-ball, and as a commissioner, I've made changes during that, under my chairmanship, to bring in, good facilities, to keep our parks nice and clean. And I'm also a chairman with the Colton Community Coalition for Change, where I've worked with our youth in the community to bring change. And one of the things that we brought is we brought a synthetic drug ordinance that the city of Colton didn't have. And the kids I work with seen the process. They seen democracy in action. They seen the process, so they know that their voice matters. Well, a lot of the students I work with are going to be graduating the next few years, and they're looking for opportunities. And I heard a lot of things in regards to San Bernardino Valley College, and I can't pinpoint specifically what I want to work on, But I want to, first of all, I want to understand what's going on with financial aid. And when I say financial aid, I'm talking overall the whole process of financial aid, because I don't know if you read, but about a couple months ago, the press, the Sun newspaper, did an article regarding the DREAM Act. And the DREAM Act helps a lot of our Latino population, our kids who want to go to school, who are not here legally. It helps them with tuition. There's a lot of money there. And the story was about the money is not being utilized. It's like less than 10%. So that's one thing I want to do, is I want to understand what's going on with the financial aid process. I want every child, not just Latino, don't get me wrong, but every child that wants an education, a quality education, I want them to come to San Bernardino Valley Community College or Crafton.
Now, you bring up education, and I know that's what the college does, but I have another question. I know that San Bernardino City Unified School District has a spectacular program known as the Middle College Program.
Correct.
Where they actually have classrooms on the college campus. How do you foresee that, and do you foresee that expanding that to other school districts within your jurisdiction to offer that same valuable asset to perhaps Colton, to perhaps other districts within your district?
Absolutely. I definitely, that's one of the things I want to do is, like I said earlier, the community of Colton and Bloomington, which is under the Colton Joint Unified School District, there hasn't been a voice there. So we don't have that program there. It's all been focused on San Bernardino City Unified. I want to be that voice. I want to bridge that gap that exists right now between our college and the Colton Joint Unified School District and any other school district that's out there. So that is one of my things that I have on my campaign material that I'm advocating for, that I want to build those bridges and close up those gaps.
Well, in addition to all your hats that you wear, I recall that you also are a broadcaster in a local radio station. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I'm a radio host at KCAA Radio, which is right here in San Bernardino. Actually, our program comes out of the Carousel Mall, which is right up the street from here. We have a World Wide Web. We also do, we have two towers. We have the 1050 AM tower, which is basically Loma Linda and the rest of the San Bernardino County Basin, and then we have our 106.5 FM tower, which is located out in Yucaipa. So we get Yucaipa, Beaumont, Banning, those areas we're able to reach out to. So I've been there for about 2 years now. What I do is pretty much what you're doing today, but we bring in local talent. I like bringing in, a lot of people criticize me because they say, hey, why don't you bring in some like celebrity? They talk about like, because I like oldies, so they talk about bringing in Brentwood and some of those old celebrities, right? But I think it's time for the kids, right? We need to find new talent. We need to find new celebrities. So I like bringing in the kids from San Bernardino, Colton, who I run into, and some of these kids have amazing talent when it comes to music, dancing. A story that I'll share with your viewers out there. A young man by the name of Ramsey Munoz. He goes to school at Grimes Elementary in the city of Bloomington. And Ramsey was about 5 years old when I met him. And he told me that he danced and that he loves to dance. So I wasn't sure, right? Well, I brought him into the studio. Well, sure enough, this young boy watches YouTube videos and he interprets the Michael Jackson dances, a lot of the celebrity dances, right? He teaches himself the choreography to do this. And his mom makes his outfits.
Wow.
And he came out to the studio, and let me tell you, that little kid, he's amazing. And he's what, 9 years old now? And he's still doing it. Bruno Mars, he's doing Bruno Mars now. And, when I brought him to the studio and I invited him out to an event, because I do a lot of car shows and things like that, and I host events, I invited him to come out and dance at an event. And there was news reporters there, not newspaper reporters, and they took his picture. And I think it was like a Herald Examiner somewhere in Fontana, one of the papers, and his picture was on the front page. And this young man, right, went to school, and he was so excited that his teachers, all his classmates, they wanted his autograph, right? And sometimes, Steve, as you know, right, experience, sometimes, you know, we might have a bad day as leaders, right? And we go, man, you know, man, why am I doing this, right? We question ourselves sometimes. Well, that happened to me. And I went home one day and I was kind of like, man, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Why am I servicing the public? And let me tell you, my phone rang, and that young man, all I heard was a voice on the other end. He said, Senor Rosso, Mr. Rosso. Yeah, I go, yeah, this is Mr. Rosso. Soy yo, Ramsey. I go, how you doing, Ramsey? Good, Mr. Rosso, but I want to thank you. I go, thank me for what? And he said, I want to thank you because my picture came out on the front page, and I'm a celebrity. But I'm a celebrity because you gave me an opportunity. I'm having this told to me by a little, you know, at that time, I think it was about a year later, 6-year-old child telling me that he was famous because of me, that his teachers, his principal, everybody wanted him to autograph his paper. And that's what I do, man, is I like to give opportunity to the youth. You know, I ran across another story I'm going to share real quick. I ran across a band, a local band. It's an all-girl band. All these young ladies go to San Bernardino City Unified School District. I think a couple of them graduated now. But they came to my show. I gave them an opportunity, Steve, to play, right? The next thing I know is these young ladies got a phone call from Disney, and they performed over the summer every Friday and Sunday. Friday, they were at the California Adventure. Sunday, they were at the Disney Walk performing, playing the rock and roll music. And now they have a hit single out there, and they're doing good. And they're called Alive in the Lights. And they're all young ladies, man. You know, 18, 19 now, because I know a couple of them graduated. But, you know, just to see our youth succeed and do something positive with their lives gives me a lot of encouragement to continue doing what I do. And that's what I want to do. That's what I want to bring to the San Bernardino Valley Community College, is I want to bring, you know, my ability to work with the students there, to work with the staff. You know, like you said, I've been in public service. I've worked with workers. I am a worker. I understand the work that goes on behind the scenes, you know, and with the knowledge, you know, going back and talking about the California School Employees Association. I serve there still as a legislative committee person. So I have to go to Sacramento and I have to deal with our legislators, our local legislators. So I have a relationship there.
Want to give you an opportunity
Sure.
to tell them about your website or how they contact you.
Yeah, if you'd like to know more about me and check out my endorsements, you can get a hold of me. Well, you can check out my website at Paul Rosso, P-A-U-L-R-A-S-S-O, Rosso.net, and that will give you directly to my website, and there's a lot of information about me there. Or you can get a hold of me at my email, which is Paul, the number 4, SBCC1 at gmail.com.
In our upcoming segment, we're going to be asking Paul Rosso about his opinion on the current presidential election. So we'll be coming back in just a minute or so stay with us. And welcome back to Photo Politico in our second segment, where we're going to be asking candidate for San Bernardino Valley College Board, District 1, newly elected, some questions on the national scene. It seems that these days everyone is talking about the national politics, and they seem to be impacting local politics, our education in a variety of ways. So we're going to go away. We're going to watch a short video to go into that segment.
You bragged that you have sexually assaulted women. Do you understand that?
No, I didn't say that at all. I don't think you understood what was said. This was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it. I apologize to my family. I apologize to the American people. Certainly, I'm not proud of it, but this is locker room talk.
He has said that the video doesn't represent who he is, but I think it's clear to anyone who heard it that it represents exactly who he is.
It's just words, folks. It's just words. Bill Clinton was abusive to women. Hillary Clinton attacked those same women and attacked them viciously.
And he never apologized for the racist lie that President Obama was not born in the United States of America. He owes the president an apology. He owes our country an apology. And he needs to take responsibility for his actions and his words.
The thing that you should be apologizing for are the 33,000 emails that you deleted and that you acid washed. If I win, I am going to instruct my Attorney General to get a special prosecutor to look into your situation.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Okay, Donald, I know you're into big diversion tonight, anything to avoid talking about your campaign and the way it's exploding and the way Republicans are leaving you.
I'd like to know, Anderson, why aren't you bringing up the emails? I'd like to know. Why aren't you
We
getting
brought up
to
the
bottom?
emails.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't. And it hasn't been finished at all.
Ken Karpowitz has a question.
It's nice to 1-on-3.
Go ahead, Donald.
No, I'm a gentleman, Hillary. Go ahead. I know nothing about Russia. I know about Russia, but I know nothing about the inner workings of Russia.
Did you use that $916 million loss to avoid paying personal federal income taxes?
Of course I do. Of course I do. And so do all of her donors.
Can you say how many years you have avoided paying personal federal income taxes?
No, but I pay tax, and I pay federal tax, too.
Well, here we go again. I've been in favor of getting rid of carried interest for years, starting when I was a senator from New York. But that's not the point here.
Why didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it?
Allow her to respond.
Because I was a senator with a Republican president.
All of these bad leaders from ISIS are leaving Mosul. Why can't they do it quietly? Why can't they do the attack, make it a sneak attack?
I would not use American ground forces in Syria. I think that would be a very serious mistake.
She has tremendous hate in her heart. But when she said they're irredeemable, to me, that might have been even worse.
She said some of them are irredeemable.
She's got tremendous hatred.
Look, I respect his children. His children are incredibly able and devoted, and I think that says a lot about Donald.
But she does fight hard, and she doesn't quit, and she doesn't give up, and I consider that to be a very good trait.
For our viewers, we've been viewing a summary of the recent debates between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. While it was a short summary, all across America, in homes and in churches, in restaurants and other facilities, people assembled to watch what we can only say was the most highly watched debate since Kennedy-Nixon, since Abraham Lincoln, Carl Douglas, and equally controversial. Paul, what is Paul Rosso, candidate for San Bernardino Valley College District, what is your overall opinion of the debate?
My overall opinion of the debate, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I've been a Hillary supporter. I was a vice chairman of the Riverside County Democratic Party for a while, and I've worked with on Bill Clinton's campaign when he was president. My parents did, and I try my best to be unbiased, but I think right now what we're looking at a president. We need a president with experience, and I know that anybody can get up there and say, hey, I can do that job. Well, that job is not easy, because we got to remember that America, man, we're a democratic society. We're not a dictatorship. And when you become a leader in the United States, you have to learn how to work with others. And I don't see that coming from Donald Trump. And that's what I'm scared of. I feel like he's going to come in and he's going to try to say, this is how we're going to do things. And I think we've seen it with past leaders like Arnold Schwarzenegger who didn't get very far with, I'm going to change things. And I think Obama, as president now, has done a fantastic job with what he had to work with. And, overall, to me, the debates should be over because I already know who I'm going to vote for.
Well, question, how has this campaign affected local schools, the race you're in? I'm sure you're fielding questions from various people.
To be honest with you, Steve, I've been focused more on my campaign and not on the presidential election. But I do know that parents of elementary kids have come to me and said, hey, my grandchild, or even grandparents, my grandchild or my daughter or my son, they go home and they sit in front of the TV because they want to see what Donald Trump is going to say because they're afraid of, these are 6-year-old, 8-year-old, 10-year-old kids that are going, what this man is doing, creating hostility amongst our community because now the kids are feeling like, it's kind of a racial thing.
A question I have, do you have a contingency plan in case, the craziest thing in the world, Donald Trump does win and begins deportation of college students? Is there a plan that you've even thought of to how the college would prepare for such deportation forces as he suggested?
I don't, Steve. I have not. I don't foresee Donald Trump winning the election. I think most of the time I've joked about, the deportation process. But in all seriousness, what I feel is that, they have the right to be here. If they've been here and they're paying taxes and they're going to school and they're educating themselves, then they have a right to be here. And I think we need to stand up with our students, with our constituents, and say, no, we're not going to take this. I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest with you.
Now, the college district is one of the largest employers in the Inland Empire, if I believe. Do you have any plans to increase employment or to apply for grants to further increase employments?
Well, yeah, the colleges have a lot of part-time staff. And there was a piece of legislation that just recently passed to give more hours or make those part-time staff full-time employees, what we call FTEs. And I was for that. That was passed by one of our local assembly members, or was actually sponsored, not passed. It was sponsored by Jose Medina, who's out in Riverside. And of course, I want to go in there and say, hey, we need more staff. We need a ratio like there is in elementary school right now.
Now, one of the greatest fears parents have when their kids graduate is the cost of college. So in this particular question, I'm asking you, there's a move around the country to say free college. In addition to free college, to allow local small college district to allow for a 4-year college degree. What is your position on that?
I support it. In fact, I'm a big supporter of Kamala Harris, who's running for the U.S. Senate, and I believe that she's going to win her election very easily. And she's already come out and said that if she wins, one of her things that she's going to do is to make college, like public education, free. So I'm jumping on that ship. I'm going to support that. And, definitely I'm going to support that all the way.
Now, you said Kamala Harris. Now, this show, or this person hasn't come out to endorse anyone in that particular race, we did have to acknowledge, we did reach out to Kamala Harris to try to get her on the show. Loretta Sanchez did respond. Did you find that controversial? A lot of, especially in the Latino community, say, whoa, we got to support the Latino. Others are saying we got to support the best candidate for that position. What have you discovered? What is your position?
With her not responding to your invitation?
Well,
is that what you're
did
asking?
you find it controversial for some individuals saying, why didn't you support a Latina candidate versus Kamala Harris, a non-Latina? Or that seems to be questions going out there.
always think for myself. You know, I'm one of those critical thinkers, and I have to look at what people have done, what legislators have done. You know, how do they go about, you know, sponsoring legislation? Who's supporting them? You know, a lot of times I might not agree with their decisions. You know, we disagree to disagree. But I mean, as far as anybody coming to me and saying why I didn't support a certain candidate, I stay with who I support. I'm not going to allow anybody to get to me and say, oh, well, you should have supported, you know, this person over this person. I'm going to support who I feel that I'm comfortable with, and I'll share with them why. And if I can't change their mind, well, I can't change their mind.
Going back to the debate and the little short segment we saw, I know that Donald Trump has made some very controversial remarks toward women recently, among the other remarks that he's made toward basically every ethnicity and nationality in our country. What position do you have on Title IX and Title VII to protect women in the colleges?
Oh, you know, I support Title IX and Title VII, and you know, I come from a family of 9. You know, my dad was the head of the household. He worked all his life. My mom was the person who disciplined us. She was the person who, you know, who always took care of us. You know, she was a multitasker. And, you know, I always take what my mom used to tell me. She used to tell me, hey, mijo, you know, just remember that women like to be treated like flowers, right? They need love, they need care, they need watering, they need somebody to listen to them. And I've always taken that, that perspective with me. And I think that's why, number one, you know, I got to go back to my union capability, because in school districts, probably 70% of the workers are women, right? So I had to relate to the ladies and represent their issues and be sensitive. So that's where I feel like women just need respect. And another thing I'll share, and people may not know this, but when we were in World War II and all our guys were shipped overseas to fight the war, the women came out and they started doing the work of the men. And at that point, that's when the Industrial Revolution was going on. But at that point, the unions were the strongest when the women were employed.
Good. You know, once again, we have Paul Rosso, candidate, San Bernardino Valley College, District 1, giving his positions on the various issues nationally and locally. Paul, once again, if you could tell us how to contact you.
Yeah, if you'd like to contact me or get more information about me, just look me up at paulrosso.net. That's PAULRASSO.net. And you can also send me an email on there. So that's my website.
Steve Figueroa from Foro Politico. Thank you for watching. Si se puede.